everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thanks so much for joining me. Today we're going to create two fun cards. We're making collage cards, and I often, when using a paper collection, if there's tags in that collection, I like to use them. And so we have a whole sheet of tags in here that we're going to use, and we're going to make some cards with tags on them and collage them up. And we're using the Photoplay paper Salt and Sea collection. I'm also bringing in some of my epoxy dice paper. Been loving these. Epoxy dice paper, what these are perfectly sized to use with the epoxy shapes. All you do is cut them out. There is two sets of these. One of them has dies, the other one is just like a refill, but you cut them out and then you can add an epoxy shape right over the top, and I always like to call them card jewelry, and it looks so fabulous. If you like glossy accents or glazing glue, just as well by adding dimension and shine, only you don't have to wait for drying time. So we're going to be using both of these on our cards today. Let's jump in and get started. I always like to pick out some pattern papers. Today we're going to be using ice cream, which is, the ice cream's on the reverse, but we're going to be using the pink part here. I'm telling you the names of the sheets because some of your favorite craft stores will sell these individually. I'm going to be using front and back of Summer Fun. These are, of course, 12 by 12 sheets. I just trimmed mine down. And then we have the Sun-Kissed. I'm going to use a little bit of this. And then this is the tag sheet that I was talking about. We're going to trim out some tags. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to use my scissors. And sometimes I like to cut all the way to the line, but today we're going to leave a little bit of a white border. And I'm just going to trim out some tags. I really like this one. And then I want to crisscross a couple of tags. So I think the pink one is going to work out perfect. So I'll trim this out. This will be for one of my cards. The second card, I really like this kind of sunset tag. We're going to go ahead and trim this out. And then these are the three tags that we'll be using today. But I love that you can do so much with tags. Now I'm going to trim down some pattern papers and we'll jump into our very first card. Before we start card number one, I did trim down my pattern papers, but I thought we would do our die cutting too, for both cards today actually. So I'm going to take the coordinating dies and we're going to cut out the beach ball here. I'm just going to tack it down with a piece of low tack tape. We will line this up and die cut out our beach ball. And then I'm also going to die cut out Summer Vibes Only. I'm going to cut out Take Me to the Ocean. And then I will cut out this little circle that says Hi. So I die cut out 3 different sizes for my epoxy shapes, and we're going to go ahead and add the epoxy shapes right now. So let's take the largest, which happens to be the beach ball, and all you do is line it up and give it a good press. And there's our beach ball. I'm going to save this for my next card. And then we have Summer Vibes. I'm going to go ahead and add my epoxy shape to this one. Okay, so we have all of our epoxy shapes. Let me show you how fun they look. Nice and shiny and fun. I'm going to use Summer Vibes for this card. So I'm going to put these 3 to the side. And I do want to mention that when I die cut this one out using the largest die here, I cut out a piece of vellum. What we're going to do is layer our epoxy shape on a piece of vellum. I like layers on my cards. Okay, and then I'm going to take this, I'm going to use a foam square, and I'm going to pop this up. And then I'm going to add this to my tag here, and we're just going to layer it right in the center. How fun is that? Super neat. Now I do want to add an eyelet to my tag, and then I am going to thread it with some orange twine. Let's go ahead and do that. This is going to add even more texture to my card. I'm just going to add a white eyelet here. Wonderful. And then I'm going to bring in some orange twine. I have some orange twine. We're just going to thread our tag. We're going to add a little extra color to the top. After we have our tag done, we're going to go ahead and add our pattern paper. I have this pattern paper that measures 3 3/4 inches by 5. I'm just going to use my glue, and we're going to attach this to the front of our card. This is going to give me a little bit of a border, which I just love. Kind of frames everything. And then I have some of my pink pattern paper. This is 4 1/4 inches wide by 2 inches tall. We're going to do a little bit of layering with this. I'm going to add it here, almost down the middle, about 1 inch up from the bottom. And then I have the reverse side of the stripes is the polka dots. This measures 3 3/4 inches wide by 1 inches tall. We're going to layer this in the middle here. Okay, after we have this done, we have both of our tags. I'm going to take this tag, and we're just going to crisscross it. Now all of these here are stickers. I took the banner that was in our sticker sheet, and I did put foam squares behind each of the bunting pieces. And I'm just going to remove the release paper, and then this is going to go across the seam here, but I want to kind of angle it, going from one side to the other, and I'm covering up that seam. I always like to cover up my seams. And then we will trim off anything that's overhanging. Lovely. And then I have some extra stickers. I used the beach ball, and what we're going to do is create a little sticker collage. And I thought we would add the crab to the beach ball here. So we have the crab, the beach ball, and then 2 of the starfish. We're going to flip this over, and then I'm going to bring in some foam tape. I put a couple foam squares on the bottom because this sticker portion is going to be layered right over the top of our banner, and so we won't need any dimension there. But I'm just going to tack this down in that corner. And then I also have the sticker that says yes please. We're going to add our yes please down here at the very bottom. And then I have one more of my starfish that we're going to add to the top here. And then for finishing touches, I'm going to bring in some gems. We need a little bit of shine here, so we're going to add a few. Let's add a few here. And then that will finish off that card. Okay, now we're going to jump into our next card. For my next card, we have some pattern paper. This measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. We're going to layer this in the middle of our card, and then I have these 2 pieces of pattern paper. This one measures 1 1/2 inches tall by 4 1/4. This is 2 inches tall by 4 1/4. We're going to layer both of these together, and then I'm going to layer it here straight down the middle. And then this pattern paper is the reverse of the yellow. This measures 2 inches wide by 5 1/2 inches tall. We're going to layer this about 1/2 inch from the card base here. So I'll get my glue out, and we'll glue these down, and I'll be right back. Now I had already put another eyelet here. I just used the white eyelet and threaded it with some orange twine. So my tag is ready to go. I'm going to take my tag. We are going to glue this to the front of all of our pattern papers. I'm going to center it here. And then I'm going to take and then we'll go ahead and tie a bow with the twine. Now I'm going to take my epoxy shapes. We have the beach ball. We're going to add some glue behind here, and then you'll see I did die cut out some vellum that was slightly larger. I did use one of my circle punches for the beach ball. And then we're going to layer the smaller ones, which these ones, the vellum I cut out with our epoxy shaped dies. So give those a second to adhere, and then we're going to work on our stickers next. I have the surfboard, which I already put foam tape behind. We're going to go ahead and add our surfboard. Next, we're going to take our sun-kissed, and we're going to angle this right across our surfboard. And then I did put foam tape on the left and the right, so we have a little dimension to that. We have our little beach tote. We're going to add this. I'm actually going to tuck my beach ball underneath the beach tote here. I'm going to put a small foam square behind my epoxy shape. We're going to add it up here, and then for my smallest epoxy shape, we're just going to glue this one down on the other side of our surfboard that says hi. I think that looks adorable. And then I also took the sticker in our sticker sheet that says celebrate. I put foam tape behind it. We're going to add this. I thought we'd add this down here at the bottom. We'll add some shine to our card here. And that's all there is to that card. So much fun. Let's take a look at both cards that we made today using the Photoplay papers. Salt and Sea 12 by 12 collection. Some fun summer cards. Hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration. Have a great day. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.